Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. You must have just taken darshan of the very sweet Mother Yashoda and Lord Damodar, and you must have observed that Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, and that's exactly what we are going to read about, this pastime which took place during this month of Kartik. So let's explore as we read together. This is from Krishna book, chapter 9, Mother Yashoda binds Lord Krishna. Once upon a time, seeing that her maidservant was engaged in different household duties, Mother Yashoda personally took charge of churning butter. And while she churned butter, she sang the childhood pastimes of Krishna and enjoyed thinking of her son. It's interesting that before the description of Krishna, the description of Mother Yashoda, who is a devotee of Krishna, precedes. And this is what is worth mentioning, really, that how important are devotees. And she, even though she has the facilities of maidservants, she wants to personally do the service for Krishna. This is a very important mood, to come forward and serve Krishna. And while she's engaged in the service, as you just heard, she's thinking of Krishna. The end of her sari was tightly wrapped while she churned, and on account of her intense love for her son, milk automatically dripped from her breasts, which moved as she labored very hard, churning with 2 hands. The bangles and bracelets on her hands tinkled as they touched each other, and her earrings and breast shook. There were drops of perspiration on her face, and the flower garland which was on her head scattered here and there. Before this picturesque sight, Lord Krishna appeared as a child. He felt hungry, and to increase his mother's love, he wanted her to stop churning. He indicated that her first business was to let him suck her breast, and then she could churn butter later. And it's interesting, isn't it? The one who lies on the bed of ocean of milk, he leaves that just to engage in loving pastime with his devotees, just to taste the milk of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda took her son on her lap and pushed the nipple of her breast into his mouth. And while Krishna was sucking the milk, she was smiling, enjoying the beauty of her child's face. Suddenly, the milk which was on the stove began to boil over. Just to stop the milk from spilling, Mother Yashoda at once put Krishna aside and went to the stove. Left in that state by his mother, Krishna became very angry, and his lips and eyes became red in rage. He pressed his teeth and lips, and taking up a piece of stone, he immediately broke the butter pot. He took butter out of it, and with false tears in his eyes, he began to eat the butter in a secluded place. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is also referred to as Atmaram. And this Atmaram is enraged because he is not getting the attention from his devotee, from his mother. And he breaks the pot in order to seek the attention. And sometimes in life, we may observe that things seemingly break. And then we realize, well, I think it was a plan really of Krishna, so that we could turn to him. In the meantime, Mother Yashoda returned to the churning place after setting the overflowing milk pan in order. She saw the broken pot in which the churning yogurt had been kept. Since she could not find her boy, she concluded that the broken pot was his work. She smiled as she thought, "The child is very clever. After breaking the pot, he has left this place fearing punishment." After she sought all over, she found her son sitting on a big wooden grinding mortar, which was kept upside down. He was taking butter from a pot which was hanging from the ceiling on a swing, and he was feeding it to the monkeys. She saw Krishna looking this way and that way in fear of her because he was conscious of his naughty behavior. After seeing her son so engaged, she very silently approached him from behind. Krishna, however, saw her coming toward him with a stick in her hand, and he immediately got down from the grinding mortar and began to flee in fear. Yamaraj, how many of you are aware of Yamaraj? You know what he does? He instructs his followers to not approach devotees in the way they would approach non-devotees. Because Yamaraj himself is fearful of Krishna. And this Krishna is now running in fear from Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda chased him to all corners, trying to capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never approached even by the meditations of great yogis. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is never caught by the yogis and speculators, was playing just like a child for such a great devotee as Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, however, could not easily catch the fast-running child because of her thin waist and heavy body. Still, she tried to follow him as fast as possible. Her hair loosened and the flowers in her hair fell to the ground. Although she was tired, she somehow reached her naughty child and captured him. When he was caught, Krishna was almost on the point of crying. He smeared his hands over his eyes, which were anointed with black eye cosmetics. The child saw his mother's face while she stood over him, and his eyes became restless from fear. Mother Yashoda could understand that Krishna was unnecessarily afraid, and for his benefit, she wanted to allay his fears. Being the topmost well-wisher of her child, Mother Yashoda thought, if the child is too fearful of me, I don't know what will happen to him. Mother Yashoda then threw away her stick. In order to punish him, she thought to bind his hands with some ropes. She did not know it, but it was actually impossible for her to bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Has anyone else also tried to bind Krishna that you can think of? Duryodhan tried. Was he successful? Exactly. That's the point. So let's see what happens here with Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda was thinking that Krishna was her tiny child. She did not know that the child had no limitation. There is no inside or outside of him, no beginning or end. He is unlimited and all-pervading. Indeed, he is himself the whole cosmic manifestation. Still, Mother Yashoda was thinking of Krishna as her child. Although he is beyond the reach of all senses, she endeavored to bind him to a wooden grinding mortar. But when she tried to bind him, she found that the rope she was using was too short by 2 inches. She gathered more ropes from the house and added to it, but still she found the same shortage. In this way, she connected all the ropes available at home, but when the final knot was added, she saw that the rope was still 2 inches too short. Mother Yashoda was smiling, but she was astonished. How was it happening? And it's noteworthy to see she's trying so hard. And this is what it takes. When we take one step towards Krishna, he takes millions of steps towards us. But it takes that desire, it takes that effort to turn to him. In attempting to bind her son, she became tired. She was perspiring, and the garland on her head fell down. Then Lord Krishna appreciated the hard labor of his mother, and being compassionate upon her, he agreed to be bound up by the ropes. Krishna, playing as a human child in the house of Mother Yashoda, was performing his own selected pastimes. Of course, no one can control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The pure devotee surrenders himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, who may neither protect or vanquish the devotee. But for his part, the devotee never forgets his own position of surrender. Similarly, the Lord also feels transcendental pleasure by submitting himself to the protection of the devotee. This was exemplified by Krishna's surrender unto his mother Yashoda. So many times we see that the devotees of Krishna, they really surrender, like Draupadi, Gajendra. And it's interesting that Krishna also seeks to surrender himself for the sake of protection of his devotees. Krishna is the supreme bestower of all kinds of liberation to his devotees, but the benediction which was bestowed upon Mother Yashoda was never experienced even by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or the goddess of fortune. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, is never so completely known to the yogis and speculators, but he is easily available to his devotees. Nor is he appreciated as the supreme reservoir of all pleasure by the yogis and speculators. After binding her son, Mother Yashoda engaged herself in household affairs. At that time, bound up to the wooden mortar, Krishna could see a pair of trees before him, which were known as Arjun trees. The great reservoir of pleasure, Lord Sri Krishna thus thought to himself, Mother Yashoda first of all left without feeding me sufficient milk, and therefore I broke the pot of yogurt and distributed the stock butter in charity to the monkeys. Now she has bound me up to a wooden mortar. So I shall do something more mischievous than before. And thus he thought of pulling down the two very tall Arjuna trees. There is a history behind the pair of Arjun trees. In their previous lives, the trees were born as the human sons of Kuver, and their names were Nalkuvar and Manigriv. Fortunately, they came within the vision of the Lord. In their previous lives, they were cursed by the great sage of Narad in order to receive the highest benediction of seeing Lord Krishna. This benediction curse was bestowed upon them because of their forgetfulness due to intoxication. This story will be narrated in the next chapter. So these trees, which were actually Nalkuver and Manigriv, they were cursed. It was actually a blessing in disguise because Narad Muni was a devotee himself, and devotees by nature are compassionate. They want to just distribute the mercy. And this is why this curse was rather a blessing in disguise, that these Nalkuver and Manigriv, who in intoxication were not respectful, had the good fortune of being in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda and then taking darshan of Lord Sri Krishna. And it's also interesting to note some qualities of Mother Yashoda. There's hard work, of course, that we saw. Other than that, of course, she's not so much bothered about her own looks. She's just so much determined to bind Krishna. And similarly, we see that devotees such as His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada also toiled so hard, perspired so hard, so that we could today take the benefit of the Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and wrote such great literature, such great commentaries, and at the age of 70, traveled to the West. That's the age where we think of really taking retirements. And that's the age when he really traveled to the West. He could have just been in one place, done his own bhajan, and that's it. It was compassion. But we also saw the glimpse of that in Sage Narad Muni. So devotees are compassionate. They want to distribute that love of God to everyone. And this is how Srila Prabhupada was also able to bind Krishna with his love, with his hard work. And it's also interesting to note that Mother Yashoda was doing this devotional service in the beginning when we read that she was churning the milk and she was smiling, thinking about Krishna. So it's a joyful devotional service. That's another thing that really comes to my mind. And with that, we conclude this chapter, and there's another beautiful chapter that reveals more about Nalkover and Manigriv, which we briefly touched upon this chapter. And if you want to relish that chapter, you can take a look at this book. So, yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, you can put Kirtan.
No, you sing Hare Krishna, no?
After anyway.
I think she can sing Hare Krishna. She'll sing Hare Krishna.
I'm singing after anyways. Mataji.
You know, today I am with Artha Sarthi. You better listen to me. अच्छे से ट्यून कुछ गा.
How do I bring it down?
है ना माता जी? Today मैं तेरी Artha Sarthi हूँ. You better listen to me.
There's no one playing without.
It's okay without मदन मत कर. अच्छे से अच्छा वाला गाड़ी. The nice one.
How do I bring it down? How do I?
8 minute बाद.
Yeah. But how do I bring this down?
Just pull it down. You need to. Narayan, can you loosen it from there and bring it down?
Yeah. Tighten it. We have 8 minutes. 8
It's okay. Just sing Hare Krishna. I was going to switch on the thing. I said she's going to sing.
And I said switch it on.
To karna
No, no, you can sing.
No. Look at this one.
It's 8
So
minutes.
sing that one. Krishna,
I know, exactly.
Krishna.
Mataji, you might as well sing now.
He's looking at him. He's saying, I will sing. तू कितना नखरा दिखती है तेरे कौन बोलो
7 minutes now.
मोटिवेटर
Yeah, it works.
That's why you're not कभी कभी आवाज नहीं आता इसमें टेस्ट कर इसलिए बोले हरे कृष्णा गा
It is. Yeah. But that's in the tune anyways.
I thought she will listen to me she's not listening look the Prabhu is also looking at her just do something
Mataji, what can I sing for 5 minutes?
just some Hare Krishna
You can't start that until 7.
6 minutes you're wasting time
Yeah, because what can I sing in 6 minutes?
pizza bana pasta bana
What can I sing?
always
What can I sing in 6 minutes? Sing. What do I sing? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,